The following program is made possible in part by the Nancy Eccles and Homer Hayward Family Foundation, the Digital Media Foundation, Yellow Brick Road, and the Arts Council for Monterey County. A big thank you from McCate TV.
Hi, my name's Dylan Holmes, and you're watching On the Mission Trail.
You're watching On the Mission Trail, a student-produced news magazine on McCate TV. And now, On the Mission Trail with your host, Dylan Holmes.
On today's episode, we follow Brandon to the Monterey Jazz Festival. Then we go to the Monarch Sanctuary in Pacific Grove to witness a blessing. And then in closing, we speak with the athletic director at North High.
Welcome to the 61st Annual Monterey Bay Jazz Festival. Today, we'll be taking a look around the venue and see what they have to offer.
Today I'm interviewing the volunteer, Brock Allen, and I'm just going to ask him a couple questions about what he does here and what he thinks about jazz.
Yeah.
So why did you volunteer for the Monterey Jazz Festival?
So I moved up to San Jose about 5 months ago and kind of just, Googling around about the area and what things going on. I saw the Monterey Jazz Festival and a coworker of mine was volunteering and, he kind of told me how to get involved. So I kind of reached out and, glad to be here, glad to get involved.
So are you a big fan of jazz? What are some of your favorite artists?
So some of my favorite artists include, some of the classics like, Michael Brecker, Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker. I don't really listen to a lot of the new modern jazz, but, coming to events like this is really refreshing because it allows me to kind of expand my musical horizons and kind of get me out of the day-to-day routine of the artists I usually listen to.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. So you're volunteering at any other music events or events at all, or is it your first time?
Oh, like I said, I'm pretty new to the area, so this is my first time volunteering for a festival like this.
Oh, I see. Very interesting. Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate the interview.
Of course.
So the Monterey Bay Jazz Festival is actually one of the world's longest running jazz festivals. It's been going strong since October 3rd, 1958. It really shows how much fun it actually is and how much people actually enjoy it. At the festival, there were a ton of booths, lots of food stands, lots of drinks, lots of clothing items, gifts, you name it, it was there. Stopped by a lemonade stand and got some of that. It was really good. As you can see, I'm clearly enjoying myself and the drink. There were actually 3 different places where they were performing. The stage by the nightclub, that was very unique, a lot of unique instruments they used. Then there was the main stage, and it was a huge stage where a ton of performers, a lot of people, there was a huge crowd, and it was just, they were really talented people. The last stage was in the grassy area, and as you can see, I'm clearly enjoying the music going on in the back. So overall, it was a great experience. We even stopped by one of the booths and they were taking a picture with a giant octopus in the background. Though I looked kind of goofy, it was a lot of fun, and I'll look back at it and I'll have lots of nice memories from this amazing time.
Sounds like Brandon had a blast. Now, let's check out that blessing.
It's important for these people to know that we're still here. They think we don't exist anymore. Archaeologists for too long have said we don't exist. We do. We are here. We are returning our language. We are visiting more of our homeland than ever before because it was kept from us. We couldn't even practice our language. Couldn't even practice any ceremonies. I could not say a prayer in our language until I was 28 years old legally, because it was against the law for Native people to practice their religion. And why? I mean, were we gonna kill anybody? Our people were killed off more than what we would call the conquerors, or in our language we call them Machaipa, which is white people. But our word for hunger is Machaipa, okay? So Machaipa means that the hungry white people, because they wanted the land, they wanted the food, they wanted everything. And it was not how we were used to surviving. And I still say we, as the ancestors, because I believe the ancestors are guiding us, all of us, to find each other, to do what's right, to be here, to protect the land, to protect their burials, to defend the sacred. I don't know how much you know about Standing Rock, but Standing Rock was so important. It woke up our young people. They went over there by the thousands. We stood up, all of us, and gave them whatever money we could, whatever food we could, whatever clothes. I sent all of our snow clothes over so that they could survive out there in the cold. And it was one of the first times that you could see that Native people were proud to be Native and to stand up for the environment, to stand up against something so big that will destroy the land. Oil will. Yeah, well, there's no doubt. So it's important that we protect these areas that are still natural. We're not beyond people caring about it, what happened in history. Here in Pacific Grove, if you look at the city's history line, they start their history when the first ship came into the bay. They excluded the 1,000 years of our people being here. There's not even a mention. And it's hard. It's why do we hate people so much? Why do we hate or dislike or cannot live with people who are different? I thought we were beyond that. This world can't exist. It can't exist if we don't become better to each other.
It seems like every man for themselves right now in society.
It does. And it is political, and it has made so many heartbreaking decisions. And it's tearing us apart. I mean, just by looking at people, it's just by culture, it's not by who we are inside. When I go speak at classes, I tell the students all the time, come out and meet the indigenous people. Even if you don't know where you are, take the time to find out. Go and say, I'm here, I know this is your homeland, and I want to respect you. I want to understand. Don't ignore them. You know, it's hard because we're very accepting. We're very accepting of people. Good people are good people, and we can all get along. If we don't, what do we have to look forward to? Yeah. It's been a little bit over 10 years that we've been doing blessings here. That's one of the things that has changed, is that it's not an archaeological site that we know of. It's a cultural site by definition of the government. It's a site we want to make sure is protected. It's within our homeland. We want to make sure that nature exists and it continues to exist. And that's why it's so hard when they want to spray chemicals or they want to come down and cut trees or come in and build. They wanted to build the restroom here, and they had different plans from it. And one of the first places was maybe too close to trees that would kill trees. And then it's finding a compromise and working together to make sure that the land is still protected, that the area is going to be protected so that the butterflies do come in. If there's too much noise, the butterflies aren't going to come. If they're going to get scared. And if we don't make sure that there are the trees here, that there's the perfect flowers, the bottlebush, other milkweed, other plants that they like, they're not going to come. And this town has built its reputation as a butterfly town, you know? Mm-hmm. If they don't protect them, they're not going to be here.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's why destroy it? There's so much beauty in the butterflies. I mean, every year when we come, somebody always says, there's the first one, it comes by, because they send out the scouts, you know? And our blessings are to the Creator saying, thank you. This is what we want to continue to come. We want this to be a place of beauty that people can come and look at. You know, we don't want it to be over. We want it to exist and to stay beautiful. And when you come and you look at them heavily on the branches, it's just unbelievable. And then you learn the story, how they know where to come, you know, and they've never been here before, you know, and it's like, wow, it's that great. It's that great that they return based on the fact that their ancestors knew where to come, and they were never here, and they come.
Nature's crazy.
That's it.
Yeah.
Then let's protect it.
Yeah.
Let's keep it, and that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that in blessing, everybody knows how special it is. Everyone who shows up here, that's why we include them in the blessing. It's not only a native blessing, it's a blessing. And if I could go around and bless all the trees, I can do that and not have anything. What we want is the people who actually live here to come and protect it and to know. Hopefully they come over, they pray, they want it to continue and to exist. And so that's why everyone is included in the blessing.
Raise awareness.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, profound words. And now onto the busy beehive of North High.
This is my 18th year teaching, but only my third year at North Salinas High School. The program's been growing in the last 2 years, and we've ran into a problem of not having enough uniforms for the kids, so we were trying to figure out different ways of doing it. And fortunately, my wife found something on Facebook of a school back in Chicago that was giving away their 200 forms to literally just to pick them up. And so I was the second person to call, but lucked out that the first person didn't want them all, and so she was looking for somebody that all the homes would go to. And we just worked it out, and we're able to get them here on uniforms. It was probably $100,000 worth of uniforms, and it cost us a little over $3,000 for shipping. So I call that a win. In that, I mean, I'm very excited that they're 12 years old, but our other uniforms were 24 plus years old. So and you should change every 10 years. So I feel like I'm kind of there now, and now we close. But now we can spend time actually focusing on fundraising to earn money for our new uniforms. One of the unique things, I really feel like the music program is a very strong part of the school culture. And I had a person tell me once, music or the band is like the first thing you hear when you enter school, being the first rally and stuff that you go to, and the last thing you hear when you leave high school, being graduation. So a lot of people don't think about how important the music program is to the overall culture of the school, and how it's something that's always there, and it's till it's gone that you don't realize what you're missing. Overall, there's 80 kids involved in the band side. I have 30 kids involved in the about 35 kids in the choir, and then I have about 35 kids in the guitar program. Every quarter I try to have one major production, that even though the marching band performs at the half times at games and pre-game and stuff like that, but I like to do one formal concert. And so this week is our fall concert on Thursday, and we'll have the jazz band performing at it. We have the choir will be performing. the marching / pep band, which is made up of the beginning band, the intermediate band, the advanced band, and the percussion class. And then the percussion class will perform by themselves, doing some things. So basically, we have trophies from the first year the school has been here and up to current right now. So it's just, that's part of our history. I'm working on trying to get photos of all the past bands from the beginning, and to start a history wall so the kids feel like they're part of something. There's a strong history here at North, and I'm really glad to be part of that and trying to bring that in. And it's just it takes time to create any type of culture and change the culture of how things are going. And I'm very happy with how things have been moving, and even in the few years I've been here, in 3 years, things have really changed really quickly, faster than I thought they were going to change, which is a good thing. Eventually, I'd like to get nice concert attire for us as opposed to doing polo shirts. I'd like to have dresses and tux tops and vests and ties for the guys, and that's where I'm headed. Time and money. Everything is time and money, and I understand that. So we're slowly getting there. We're in the process of my parent booster organization's in the process of becoming a nonprofit, so it's easier for us to get donations that way. And so the machine is slowly getting going. I wish I could always just snap my fingers and this is the way I want it, but I'm amazed how fast it's going there in such a short amount of time. I think it's important for every student to get involved with something, be it sports, be it clubs, be it band, be it choir, be it drama, be it anything. A student needs to be involved because that makes them part of the school culture. And when you feel that you're part of something, you thrive a lot better in that atmosphere as opposed to being on the outside and always looking in at it. So that's, I think, the most important thing. Now, I'd love to have students go through the music program instead of that, but I feel it's more important that students are involved in something while they're in high school.
A blessing to get the uniforms. And I got here my freshman year and we had the blue ones, and we just got the new ones like a relief. The other ones are really old and falling apart and off-white, and these are still brand new.
The uniforms for me, it means that we're taking a step closer to greatness, because we were nothing when we began. Because I remember my freshman year, he was in there. It was like he was retiring, my old music teacher, and then when he came in, we saw like everybody wanted to play music. Oh, we got excited for going to competitions and see them. And then we went to a bunch of trips and seen other musicians, how they do their practices, and then that was really great. For me, especially, I have to be here longer. I have to set up the uniforms, get them named, tagged, everything. Everybody should have a uniform, hat, a plume. She's in charge of the plumes to pass them out. I have to get everybody, do you have your music? Do you have your instrument? Do you have everything you need? Because we're not coming back. And, and then you have to check every single uniforms they have. They should be presentable. Their hair has to be done as well. It's not just the uniforms itself, you have to be presentable for the people who are watching you, because nobody wants to see someone who looks really bad and does really bad. If you look great, you do great.
You have a lot of pride in your school, showing that in what you do, and showing the band play proudly.
We do concerts every quarter. We also do all the parades that are local to Salinas. We show them that although there's other schools there, that we're not the underdog, because that's what we're presumed as, because there's other schools that have been here longer in their music program is to get them ready and prepared. They have to learn skills because we can't be there behind them every single step. The first couple games that we do, I'm like, you do have everything. And then by the end of the season, marching season, we see that they don't need our help anymore, that they've learned their skills, that they need to be ready for us to succeed. Also, it's not like we're like, how can I say this? Like we're forcing them to do this, but it's a good skill to learn, to be always looking presentable, because job interviews, you have to look presentable as well. It's not just like the music program itself, but it helps you outside as well.
In my point, I feel empowered when I'm in the band. I feel like when I'm at the football games, I'm part of the cool kids. I have like friends around me. You create a bond in the band. Those people got your back, you know?
Like I was saying before, we do parades, local parades, but we do a combined parades with all the other marching bands that there is local schools. We unite, we do one practice all together, and then we should be ready by the weekend. We try to do our best. We have to memorize music. We do Veterans Day Parade that we do by ourselves. Each school does different type of music. We do Parade of Lights and the Como Parade. The Como Parade and the Parade of Lights, it's when we all come together and unite. We're not rivals, we're just friends hanging out. You get to meet a lot of new people and the skills that they have.
I mean, the Como Parade is like you have to like be dedicated to do it. It's every Thursday after school ends. All throughout summer you practice every Thursday. And you get to bond with everyone there. It's really fun.
We're putting on a production of Night of the Living Dead. And it's a zombie apocalypse film that focuses on just a group of people who are trying to survive. I've been involved, so I'm a junior here, and I've been involved in the theater program for all 3 years. Yeah, and we have 2 amazing directors.
I just barely became involved with the program, but I have had a theater class last year. I'm a sophomore.
Yeah, this is my first lead in a big show like this, from a high school at least.
This is my first lead in a first play, like, ever, so yeah.
So I am one of the theater teachers here at North High. Charlie Trementosi and I work together on all of our shows. The kids last year got really excited about a Halloween-themed show. And so this year we did Night of the Living Dead because we have a huge cast and a lot of chance to utilize zombies. It's allowing us to draw in some special effects makeup, to work with our video production club, who's going to film part of the show to project on stage. And we're opening in a couple weeks. We're in the final stretch. Everyone's very excited.
I started the Film and Digital Arts Club, as well as an Art in the Digital Age Club. Well, that's actually a class here at North High. And we have never had anything like that before, and I come from a background in design, and I really wanted to teach that kind of class. And so I approached the administration, and they supported me. And so this year we have a budding media program here that I'm really excited about. So with the club, I'd say we have about 30 kids who are interested right now. And you know, we've already done a couple of like promo videos for homecoming and filmed the parade we had last week, and we're hoping to edit that into sort of like a highlight reel this week. And then we're doing the video production for the play, which is it's going to be really fun. We're going to film some zombie scenes today in in an hour or so. So for the sports poster, I guess Miss Ashen had somebody else who had done it before, but in my background in graphic design, I offered to get started producing that, and then I'd love to have students eventually help me produce that to teach them, you know, transferable skills for when they graduate. So if these kids are interested in graphic design or anything like that, they have pieces for their portfolio, actual real-world experience in dealing with a printer and advertisers and all of that kind of thing. So we put together the first sports poster, and we'll do the rest of them afterwards.
One of the most important things in any high school program is a student's involvement on campus. And the #1 predictor of success for any student on campus is being involved. And we are just so proud of the number of kids that we have involved in not only athletics, but in our band program and in our theater program, our ag program, our clubs, ASB. All those programs contribute to the success of our students here at North Salinas High School. So this year at North Salinas High School, we're at one of our largest enrollments ever. due to the delay in the opening of Rancho San Juan High School. So we're at over 2,300 students. Once Rancho San Juan opens this fall, every school will drop about 500 students, which will give everybody a little bit more space. But things are quite crowded this year. For me, personally, I was a freshman here in 1972. And so this is where I went to high school. So I graduated in 1976, and this is our 60th birthday, our 60th anniversary. That's why Ruby put that on the poster and all that. And I turned 60 in 2 weeks. And so it's kind of, I've always felt like when I was 13 and started high school, I knew I would be back here. And so this is my 26th year back at North Salinas High School as a staff member. But it's just, there's a certain love that comes from where you go to high school. I mean, I'm sure you have the same thing. And so it's just cool to be back somewhere where you get to see all the growth, and you get to see great kids, and you get to see great staff. So for me, it's just the greatest place on earth. So my first day of high school, 6'2", so I was 2 inches shorter than I am now and about 50 pounds lighter. A teacher walked up to me, grabbed me by the arm, dragged me into the girls' locker room and said, "Look what I found." And to that day, that was the first day of being a really tall, awkward, gangly girl that somebody wanted me to be around. And I knew sports was going to be the way for me. And then I got a basketball scholarship to go to college, played basketball, got to go and see the world and do all sorts of great things. And just because I think I told the lady that year, "I'm going to have your job someday, Miss Maycumber." And she was the athletic director. And then when I came back in 1992, she was about ready to retire. So it worked out just great. The transition from private to public the biggest thing is just the number of kids. You're just not used to seeing so many different people in the same kind. And in the private school, people are a lot more similar. Here, it was great because there were African Americans, there was Filipino. I learned what lumpia was. I mean, I didn't even know what that was. And Hispanic, and all the different cultures and different kinds of kids. And I think it was a lot better experience, I think. But the biggest thing was just numbers. The cool thing about the band is, Mr. Gronroos started a great program and was here for a long time, and then Mr. Parker took over when he retired. But it's when the band is enthusiastic and energetic, people get excited, and people start to come to the game to see the band. And then the band kids come to see the football players, and the band actually comes to our basketball games now. And nobody has a band at their basketball games. So I think Everett Alvarez does have the band at their basketball game. They have some. But it's super cool. Everybody's like, well, we want that, right? Because everybody wants to do what everybody else wants to do. And so that's why the all-city band is just so cool. To see Salinas High, Everett Alvarez, Alice Al, North Salinas kids walking and marching together just is a great source of pride for our city. There's a banner up at Rabobank Stadium. It says, "One City, Our City." And we started it when we had some violence and we lost one of our student athletes to gun violence. And it applies to everything, not just the football players, but to the band and to our theater kids. And they all want to support each other. I think that's what's exciting, is when you see different kids who you wouldn't normally see at a football game who are there for the band. And the band kids learning about football, and the football kids going, "Hey, how do you do that?" I think that's what makes for a really cool campus. It's funny because the passing periods, you make all your decisions around passing periods, kind of like traffic. So you don't want to go out during traffic, right? Like you don't want to go from South Salinas to North Salinas at 4:30 in the afternoon, right? From 4:30 to 6:30 because of the traffic. So it's the same idea. You don't want to go outside your office for those 7 minutes because it's just so crowded. But the kids have done a great job. I mean, they all know, but it is definitely a bunch of trout, and sometimes you get stuck swimming upstream, and it's not fun to try and find your classroom. So.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
The preceding program was made possible in part by the Nancy Eccles and Homer Hayward Family Foundation, the Digital Media Foundation, Yellow Brick Road, and the Arts Council for Monterey County. A big thank you from McKay